I'm joined now by my guest, who is an agribusiness expert in the person of Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians, and thank God for another blessed day.
Good to have you on the program this morning. I'm sure you would have seen the comments that we got across all the social media platforms and the average price that the Nigerians rather are paying for a 50 kg bag of rice. And in average, I could come up with 100,000 naira, based on research. But we did see the prices fluctuate between 75,000 naira and over 100,000 naira. But let's hear from you now. As someone who is a player in the agri space here in Nigeria, what are the factors that are contributing to the surge that surge has always been there, but it seems to have intensified even more in recent times? What is the major contributor to that surge?
Thank you very much. I could say categorically, as far back as 2020, a bag of rice, Nigerian rice, was as low as 25,000-30,000. And as of now, in some part of the country, a bag of rice is 120,000. Just like you rightly said, a lot of factors, natural factors, economic factors, and artificial factors contributed to this crisis. And if we should break it, the natural factor is flood. The farmers that are into rice production have been confronted with so many challenges, which reduce the number of paddy rice we are getting in Nigeria. Nigeria now, to some rice millers, are importing paddy from neighboring countries to Nigeria because our farmers don't have paddy. That is one. Due to what? Flood. The rate of the flood this last year till now has not been very, very supportive to farming system in Nigeria. Number two, economic factors. Fluctuation in forest contributed to it. In Nigeria, I can say larger part of us in Nigeria do not consume made in Nigeria rice. We consume foreign rice, and the rate of dollar determines the rate of selling the rice. Why is it? Made in Nigeria is not a thing Nigeria patronized. And because of that, Nigerians are now going to the border country to mill rice and bring it in as an imported rice because they know Nigerian, if you say it's made in Nigeria, they may not buy. Why the number three is artificial? Taking opportunity of economic situation to determine the price because most of the modular rice millers have closed down. Even the surviving among them that are the big ones are struggling to survive, buying paddy from foreign countries. All these factors influence hike in rice in Nigeria today.
So much
we know
there.
I was the chairman of rice millers in Kwara State. I know the trouble our member confronted, and I know where they are today, trying to survive.
So much to unpack right there.
The little we can get in the market is what is determining the price. Thank you.
Well said, Doctor. So much to unpack, speaking about the natural forces, the economic forces, as well as the artificial forces. We shall be going even further to, unbundle all of this that you rightly stated and, really chart a path forward in ensuring that we address the concerns around the rise or the surge in the price of rice. But first, let's go on a short break. When we return, my guest, who is Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji, is still with me, and the conversation continues after the break. To stay. Thank you for still staying with us. You're still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we just start a conversation proper, and we are looking at the recent surge in the price of rice. Like I stated before, according to Business Daily findings, Nigerians now pay an average of 100,000 naira for a 50 kg bag of rice. And this is even more than the minimum wage, which currently stands at 70,000 naira. And that goes to, raise quite a number of questions regarding how, Nigerians are currently faring with this inflation that we are seeing with a bag of rice in the market. But I still have my guest here with me, who is an agribusiness expert in the person of Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji. Thank you again, Doctor, for joining us on the program today. Good to have you with us.
Thank you once again, and it's a pleasure.
Doctor, you did speak to, a particular issue. You talked about rice paddies. You said that that the price of rice paddies have increased, and even having access to rice paddies has become a challenge. You also did mention, people going as far as Cameroon borders to, have access to this. But last we checked, there was an executive order by the federal government, to import rice paddies to millers, which is expected to stem the growing tide in food inflation. I will want to hear from you regarding that. Has that in any way, given any form of results in the rice market right now?
Truth be told, it has no positive results. It's not every member, all the producers of rice are member of association. That is number one. And those that are members of processing associations, are they up to the requirements before they can benefit? Are these products given to the association to manage? These are the questions we need to ask. And therefore, the importation of paddy by federal government is good, but it has not shown impact in the price of rice. Instead, it triggered the price of rice higher.
When we went through the social media comments, I was even more shocked at, the amount of a bag of rice in certain areas. We did see amounts like 125,000 for, a 50 kg bag of rice. And that really raises questions around how the average Nigerian is faring. But you did make mention of, the concerns around artificial factors, natural factors, economic factors. But I would like for us to look at, economic factors specifically, looking at logistics concerns and supply chain concerns, the price of fuel and all of this put together. How would you say these factors, the economic factors, have affected the price of rice when it gets to the final consumer?
Thank you very much. Let me go elementary. We start from the farm. How much is seed of paddy rice now? Number one. Number two, how much is the chemical now? Number three, land preparation. Price of diesel affects the price of land preparation. These three major factors contributed to hike, because a paddy of rice, that is the seed that used to be less than 10,000 naira for 50 kg, goes as high as 70 or 50,000 naira. That is number one. Number two, cost of herbicides, fertilizers are going higher and higher per day. Number three, land preparation that used to be 25 to 30,000 per operation in some areas is now between 75 and 90,000 naira per operation. What do I mean by operation? Land clearing or plowing of your land is one operation. Harrowing after plowing is second operation. And for successful production, this has to be carried out. Moving away from that, technology. Our farmers are still some of us are still using the ancient and conventional way of planting rice. Meaning, we plant according to our own choice without having the agribusiness knowledge or agribusiness model. Look at the picture you are showing on the screen presently. It's showing a standard way of planting rice to get results. In the agribusiness model, we expect a minimum of 4 tons per hectare from 1 hectare of rice farm. Minimum. At that level, a farmer can break even his cost. How many of our farmers are getting this done? At the end of the day, disaster comes along. How many of our farmers insure their farm against disaster? At the end of the day, a farmer will see 1 or 1.5 or 2 tons per hectare, where they are supposed to spend 500,000 on 1 hectare. They spend 550,000 on 1.5 acres. What do you expect, and how do you expect such a farmer to break even? For such a farmer to achieve his aim, he will put all his costs on the output he gets. And who will suffer it? The consumer.
Doctor,
Leaving that as stage 1.
You have painted a picture that you have painted a picture that really doesn't look good, you know, starting from access to rice paddy and the price that it even does go for. And unfortunately, you know, with the value chain that you have, or the supply chain that you have, you know, pointed out, the final consumer gets to bear the brunt of the price increase. But I will also want for you to speak specifically to the artificial factors that you did mention earlier. You know, artificial inflation, which in most cases or many cases is usually the problem. But what would you say regarding that? I mean, a bag of rice for 125,000 naira, is that the price should that be the market price at this point?
That's where I'm going. When a rice producer, that is rice miller, buy a paddy of rice of 75 kg, and the impurity, the unwanted element in that paddy is about 15 kg of 75, it remains 60. The pre-reduced final product is less than 50 kg. And how can such a person break even? He will now look at the price at which they are selling foreign rice and use that to determine his own price. The artificial pricing system is being based on what foreign price people are selling in Nigeria. And that is the major cause of it. The price of foreign rice determines the price of Nigerian rice. And the taste of our people also contribute to artificial increase in price. People will say that Nigerian rice is not good, it's not well polished, it's full of stone, which I can categorically tell you now that 80% of Nigerian rice can compete with imported rice. The quality of Nigerian rice is better than foreign rice. This sensitization is not there. But people believe artificially that Nigerian rice does not meet their taste. Therefore, they continue to buy more of foreign rice. And foreign rice comes along with the exchange rate. And exchange rate determines what people will buy.
But you said the price
despite the fact that there is open window to bring rice, import rice to the Nigerian border. Yes, it's still a problem.
Allow me to interject at this point, Doctor. You have said that the price of foreign rice affects the price of local rice, and I'm just trying to, you know, understand what the relationship or correlation there is. How does the market forces internationally affect, you know, the price of local rice here in Nigeria? Can you hear me, Doctor?
Thank you. That has to do with our own taste in Nigeria. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go on with your thoughts,
Hello?
please. I can hear you, Doctor.
Thank you. This has to do with Nigerian taste. Made in Nigeria for Nigeria. We Nigerians, let's patronize our products. If we patronize more of Nigerian rice, lesser of foreign rice will come. And this has to do with we, the rice millers. Let's produce our rice to the international standard level. And this will help in the consumption of made in Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too. Doctor, you did speak to, smallholder farmers embracing agribusiness processes, but there are concerns, around the education, I should say, or the entire process, speaking about advanced technology and all of this, from cost concerns to even trainings and capacity building. But I would like for you to speak regarding that, the importance of agribusiness processes and, addressing challenges such as this.
Thank you. This is the time we need to restructure our system. The part of government is provision of farmable land with required infrastructures and subsidize that particular sector. If farmers can get 50% subsidy on the cost of input, number one, cost of production will be reduced. Moving from there, we need to start encouraging our youth to accept agribusiness into their system. And agribusiness starts from capacity building. Let's train them on smart farming. How can I do my rice to achieve 7 tons per hectare? Mechanization comes there. Don't forget, the issue of security contributes seriously to this hike in price. Having farm settlements and having all these infrastructures in place on the farm settlement, I'm very sure our farmers will bring down the price of rice. If we are able to produce a bag of paddy as low as 30,000 for 100 kg, that means that if we have a paddy that is 30,000 naira per bag of 100 kg, the final result is 70 kg or 65 kg of finished rice. And you know what that means? Such rice will not be more than 50,000 naira per bag. Therefore, capacity building, provision of subsidy to agricultural sector, reorientating farmers' mindset on the modern technology of farming, especially rice production. Broadcasting of seed do not help us again in Nigeria. Our population is increasing, therefore, each from farm needs to increase. And this has to be done through introduction of mechanization and technology. Thank you.
Well said, Doctor. But I will also like for us to look at some natural factors. To an extent, most of or some of these factors cannot be, addressed by us since they are natural. Concerns such as flooding, such as pests, such as diseases and other production challenges. But are there ways that we can, at least to an extent, manage these factors that I have mentioned?
Yes, thank you. For rice, we know that rice likes much water, but too much of water affects the production. Last week, we discussed about dry season farming. This is the time all the flooded area during the rainy season should be converted to dry season rice farming, whereby government can support in the provision of required implement and facilities. That is number one. Number two, we need to do more of farm settlements and cluster farming for particular products in Nigeria. Natural disaster cannot be guided against 100%, but we can manage it. Since we know a particular area is being made or is known to be a flooded area, we should avoid to do production there during the rainy season and move our production to dry season. Move more of our production in the rainy season to areas that are not prone to flood. And finally, farmers must know now that ensuring their production is very important, because all the farmers that are affected with all these natural disaster or insects or pesticide challenges, how are they going to come back to farming? That may be the end of their business life. But if they have insurance, they can still go back and do this business. We need more advocacy and knowledge, orientation to our farmers in this area of disaster on how to manage it.
You have spoken to support that is required from government. You've spoken about grants, subsidies, and the likes. But I will want for us to speak, more specifically on, reforms. Talking about, reforms in the area of maybe laws. Now we can even talk about laws or policies and policy direction that will help farmers moving forward, because this has been something that has been quite repeated here in Nigeria, concerns around, needing funding, needing grants and the likes. But are there reforms that you will be pointing fingers at this point, that maybe policy reforms that you would want to see that will help the production of rice and help, production of food generally in Nigeria?
Thank you. The policy formation that I will suggest and appeal is one, all the farmable areas in the country should not be converted to another purpose. Where is meant for agricultural use, let it remain to be agricultural use in the federal, state, and local. Don't let them look at it as bringing development, residential development to where it's supposed to be for agri. That should stop, because we too need our own estate. Agri need a standard estate to be used. It is because there's no more farmable areas. That's why farmers are moving to where there is flood. But if there is a policy from the federal government that all agricultural lands will never be used for another purpose, that will help us greatly. Number two, there should be a policy for food security in Nigeria that we make sure all local governments have what we call farm settlement. And there must be an allocation for sustainability of farm settlement. And this farm settlement we are talking about should be privatized or be in the format of PPP for the sustainability. And there must be a law that any government that comes in at any point in time make provision for the continuity of that farm settlement. More of our youth will go there, where there will be training facilities. Agro scheme should be encouraged in Nigeria. Most of the processing centers that are producing food to patronize and sign up what we call backward integration with concentrated farmers in the estate. If all these are considered, I want to believe food will be ensured and the security will be what? Sustained. We need grants. We need subsidy. If there is subsidy to the art sector, because we cannot fight the input suppliers. They too are in business. If government help to subsidize agricultural sector by 50%, starting from land preparation, input support, even giving input to farmers free is not helping us seriously. Let's be frank with us. But if they subsidize us and provide a flexible loan to farmers, relieve farmers, I believe Nigeria will be an export of food very soon in this country. Thank you.
You have spoken to, the kinds of supports that are necessary, from subsidies to grants and the likes. But before we go, I will want for you to speak regarding, some coping strategies that farmers can, have at this point, seeing the prices, the increase in the cost, economic hardship and the likes. Are there ways that farmers can manage during these unexpected price surge, from paddy rice to supply concerns and high cost of supply, the supply chain? What can farmers do to manage the cost at this point?
Thank you very much. Farmers, we know this is our tough time. Tough time don't last, but tough people do. Let's go back to our drawing board. Let's do what we call economic of production first before we go into farming. Let's take the coverage size of our land we want to use and look at what value of money do we have. By doing our economic of production, it will help us a lot to know our budget, to know our expectation, to know where we need support. If all these are there, I want to believe we will make it. And farmers, let's work as an association. Let's work as an association to get serious-minded off-takers. If we are able to determine our economic of production and we know our markup, we will support the economy of this country. We will not be using open market price to determine our price. Some of us that are using open market price, we are running at loss. And the quality of inputs is only the association that can fight for us. We as individuals, we may not be able to fight it. Let's be united as one and use the association to grow our farm. Let's come together as one entity and use the policy of farm settlement. And when I'm talking about farm settlement, I mean commodity-based. Thank God we have Farmers Association, which is the umbrella body. Let's go back. Let's reframe the system we used before now. Nigeria is increasing in population. Let's increase our productivity. And productivity can only be increased by capacity building. Knowledge is very important. Let's abandon and abort our conventional system. Technology is now the way forward. Thank you, and God will bless our hustle.
Dr. Ajisefinni Ayodeji there, speaking very intensely on, how to address concerns around the surge in the price of rice. Thank you, Doctor, for the insights that you've shared today on the program. Deeply appreciated.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure for me to always be here.
Very insightful conversation there on the surge in the price of rice across the country. And like I stated at the beginning, a bag of rice currently goes for an average of 100,000 naira. And that is obviously, even higher than the minimum wage, which currently stands at 70,000 naira. And we did, address, concerns and how to, address these concerns and improve our productivity as a nation. Like Doctor stated, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So we are, going to be, ending a conversation on the program at this point, but keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms on Facebook, on X, on Twitter, and on Instagram, and we'll be there to interact with you this morning. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.